Hello my friends, this is Lionel Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video, and in today's video we got a massive decode of not only the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny, but also the Olympics. Alright, that's right my friends, the opening ceremony was an Illuminati ritual, and same with the Super Bowl halftime show. And this stuff goes deep, alright my friends? A lot of people have no clue what just took place. They don't know the meaning of it. Maybe they picked up on a few small things, but today I'm going to fill in the whole picture of what this ritual was and what it is showing of what is to come. And it has everything to do with this end time pole shift, return of Saturn event. Even has to do with ascension and descension, Nibiru cataclysm, all those things all combined into one. My friends, this video will blow your mind, so let's just get right into it. Before we do, I'm just going to encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. As I say, subscribe to survive. And also smash the like button because it helps with the algorithms, and I'm heavily shadow banned, so if you hit that you might see the video, okay, or my future videos. And also leave a comment too because that helps push this out into algorithms as well, okay. So let's just get right into it. So as I was saying, a lot of people don't understand what's going on. They have very little knowledge about occult symbolism and what these people are trying to show you. And only the people who've been initiated into the mystery schools or who have been self-initiated through deep research of occult knowledge will actually understand what's going on, okay? So for me, for somebody who has studied this stuff, I want to be the first one to really bring this because so far I haven't seen full decodes yet, okay? So I want to start off with the Olympics because that did happen first. And believe it or not, the Olympics ritual is tied directly to this Super Bowl halftime ritual. That's right, my friends. And it all has to do with the return of Saturn, the end of this age. Okay, we were in the age of Pisces. Now we're heading into the age of Aquarius, also known as the Golden Age. That's why you hear Donald Trump all the time saying we're going into the Golden Age, okay?
The Golden Age of America begins right now.
This is something that occultists have been talking about for hundreds of years now, how we're transitioning from Pisces into the Golden Age, okay? That is the age of Aquarius, and the age of Aquarius marks the return of Saturn. That's right, Kronos ruled over the Golden Age, and Kronos was always tied to Saturn, okay? And we've been covering that extensively on this channel for the past couple years. So, to start off these Olympics, as you could see, they had a big swirl on the stage, and they were all walking within the swirl. Now, you know, the elites, they're pretty smart with the psyops and the things they do to pervert symbolism, okay? Because as you guys know, the FBI released symbols that were connected to horrible things that happened to children, and they say certain groups use certain symbols. And one of the symbols for these evil groups is a swirl, okay? Now, they did this on purpose, using the spiral swirl, because they want to demonize this symbol. So when anytime a person who thinks they're a truther sees a swirl or a spiral, they immediately think, oh, it's a you-know-what symbol. And that's what they want you to think, because they don't want you understanding what's truly going on. My friends, the spiral is an ancient symbol being around thousands of years, okay? Way before the FBI released their list and connected it to that, okay? I believe that was done intentionally to pervert the meaning, the true meaning of that symbol. Because I'm telling you right now, that spiral at the Olympics, it didn't have anything to do with that FBI symbol, okay? It had to do with, see, this is kind of the similar thing. It's not just the spiral swirl, but also, you know, the symbol that was used in Germany with the swass, you know what, but this is also called the gamma dion, okay? It's a spiral kind of symbol. What does it represent? I've talked to you guys about this before. It represents this matrix that we're within and the cycles we go through. Okay? That's what it represents. We go through cycles, we go through different ages. And this symbol always pops up towards the end of the age, okay? So it doesn't matter if it's the spiral circle. It doesn't matter if it's the symbol they used in Germany, you know, with the guy with the funny mustache, or if this is actually a Mayan symbol. I got this in Mexico. It's also used in Greek as well. Greek culture, you'll see similar things. It all represents the cycles of time and that we're going into a new cycle. Very interesting, because then we come to this. That's right, my friends. Everybody's talking about it. And as far as their knowledge goes, is it's a pentagram, right? It's got to be a pentagram, which it is a pentagram. But that symbol or that ritual that we saw goes way deeper than it just being a pentagram, my friends. So what was it all about? Well, somebody shared this on Facebook, and then it all clicked and made sense for me, okay? As you can see, that is a Masonic symbol, and it's got the two pillars, and it's got the pentacle in the middle, and you can see that's clearly what they did at the opening Olympics ritual. Except for there's a big difference between those two ones there. The one has a pentagram, an inverted star, and the other one is a pentacle, upright one, okay? So the Masonic symbol there on the right is actually a positive character, because what it's representing is ascension out of the matrix. The pentacle upside down is descension, and both on the left and the right also symbolizes Saturn, okay? So now we're getting into the Saturn stuff, because you see the all-seeing eye is represented as Saturn. The eye has always been represented as Saturn, okay? The eye of providence, whatever you want to call it. And then you see you got the stairway, you got the two pillars, okay? So the stairway is the stairway to heaven, okay? So there's so much esoteric stuff that's within this symbolism of the stairway and the two pillars. It goes back to Solomon's temple, okay? Because Solomon's temple had the stairway to heaven and the two pillars. And it's connected to Saturn. So, what is all this stuff with Saturn? Well, my friends, I've been talking about something called the Saturn polar configuration, okay? And I have a video right here talking about the reptilian harvest of humanity. And in that video, we talk about what the Saturn polar configuration is. Now, I'm going to leave a link to that down below in the description, where I highly recommend you guys check it out. I go over in depth what that's all about, and the details of it, how there's so much predictive programming. But I'll just quickly sum it up right now. Is that at one point in time, here in this realm, Saturn was our main sun. Okay, not the sun we have today, but it was Saturn. And there was a configuration where Mars and Venus aligned. And it pretty much created a massive cataclysm event. And it kind of rearranged our whole solar system, okay? Or simulation, you could say, because we're within a simulation. And then the sun we have now became our sun and all this. But anyways, it was... when it was like that, it was in the golden age, okay? And then the polar configuration happened, everything rearranged, okay? I know it sounds deep stuff. The video will explain it all. So the Saturn polar configuration looked like this, okay? As you could see, this is a sketch by David Talbot. So it appeared in the sky, and it looked like there was a stairway to heaven, and then it also had an arch like that, which were the pillars, as you could see. All right. And it looked like a giant star in the sky. So ever since that happened, you see this all through Masonic symbolism, because they know about the past resets that have happened. to humanity, okay? And they put that imagery out there everywhere. You'll see in my other video, it's in movies, it's in everything. They always show this blazing star, and they show the pillars, it's everywhere, okay? So when this event happens, this Saturn polar configuration, it also opens up a portal, okay, also known as the black sun as well, okay? A portal opens for a brief period of time, and those who have spiritually advanced themselves have the ability to leave this matrix, because this gateway, you could call it a gateway. That's also why this was done with a gate there, okay? And there's also the two pillars in between. It's a gate. That's a gateway, and for those who have done their spiritual work and have transcended the physical body, okay, they will ascend when this event happens. Those who haven't, those who have, stayed at lower levels of consciousness and stayed in a sinful state, which just means a low vibrational state, those who've committed evil, all that kind of stuff, just people who haven't awakened, pretty much, they will be left on the earth as the cataclysm happens, and they will perish, pretty much, and be recycled into the new simulation. Okay, I know it sounds like deep stuff, but this is what it's all about. As you could see at the opening Olympics, it's an upside down star. That means they want humanity to descend. You see fire, flames, all that stuff is happening. And at the bottom, they're holding the torch, okay? The torch represents your Kundalini life force energy and being at the bottom chakras, and it represents you being in a state of being asleep, pretty much, while the whole world burns, okay? Because they don't want you ascending at that point in time. Now stick around to the end of the video, because we're going to go over more of the esoteric symbolism behind the Masonic image, about how that means to escape the matrix and how you could do that. We're going to break down the symbols and everything, but I'm going to do that at the end of the video, because now we have to get into the Super Bowl halftime show and how this is directly connected to this Saturn polar configuration ritual that we saw at the Olympics, okay? So stick around to the end, though, because we're going to go further into the esoteric meanings and how to ascend out of the matrix. All right, so fast forward to the Super Bowl halftime show. So everything clicked for me when I saw this video by Jacob Israel, where he put out about this halftime show and how it's connected to the Bible, okay? So I want to show you guys that. Take a look.
The Super Bowl just wrapped up, and its halftime show by Bad Bunny, well, it was surprising. Actually touted as one of the highest viewed of all time. It made it into like the top 5. Going into it, there was a lot of concern about the show becoming something that was political instead of something that was uniting. I fell asleep like I usually do when I missed it, but I watched it on the replay, and what I found was quite powerful. You see, in the end days, there are a lot of parables that make up what that day will be like, and one of them is the wheat and the tares. It struck me as odd that as I'm watching Bad Bunny perform, the stage was filled with, well, we'll say grass, and it was also filled with sugarcane. A visual depiction of a harvest, if you will, the wheat and the tares. And at one point towards the end, Bad Bunny performed the song that was to honor the blackouts that took place in Puerto Rico. As he made his way through the fields of grass and the fields of sugarcane, he came to a place that looked very much like Calgary. And as he climbed up the utility pole, and he took his place on that pole, as the camera pulled back, I was shocked to see Calvary. As he was singing, now I didn't know what he was saying because I speak Spanish, but not that great. I didn't know exactly, but I felt like he was reenacting Christ when he was on the cross, when he felt forsaken by God. As you look at his performance, how could it not strike you as odd? Doesn't that look just like he's on the cross? After he cries out, then the lightning, the fireworks So here we have two end-time things coming together. Parable of the wheat and the tares. Ironically, I actually shared a post almost exactly 2 years before it about the wheat and the tares. Is this the day we're in?
All right, so there you guys have it. The wheat and the tares, connected to end times symbolism, end times messaging. Okay, so what is the wheat and the tares all about? Well, I also have a video that's going to read you out that entire scripture. Okay, my friends, take a look. But before we get to that, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsors down at OWELI. My friends, we got OWELI, vitamin D3, and K2 high dose, okay? I think it's 20,000 IUs per dose, all right? It's the winter time. We're not getting the sun. Vitamin D is vital for so many things for our health. So definitely check into vitamin D3. And we also got ashwagandha if you need a little bit of a chill pill. This helps lower your cortisol levels, helps with stress, anxiety. It also has detoxification effects. It's good for boosting testosterone in men. Many good health benefits. So both great, all natural, all organic supplements. Obviously, it's not medical advice. Talk to your doctor and research it first. Do what you got to do. But if it's something you're interested in, links are down below. And of course, there's a 15% off coupon and free shipping in the United States. It's a great way to help support this channel and support your health. Now let's get to the video.
He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear."
All right, so as you can see, it's about the harvest of the wheat and the tares. The wheat being the people of God or whatever, and then the tares being the evil, okay? Now, never forget that the Bible is a book created by the elites with predictive programming and also telling you what this realm is. It's a book that, it's the latest indoctrination book, but beyond all of it has deeper esoteric, occult messages that the initiated can only understand. And there's been many other ancient civilizations who've taught similar things, and the Bible pretty much copied other civilizations, because what it's talking about, this harvest event, actually comes from Roman mythology and Saturn, my friends, because Saturn was known as the Lord of the harvest, okay? Lord of the harvest. And pretty much it's talking about this Saturn polar configuration event, because when this happens, this portal opens up. And the people of God, aka the people who've done their inner work and who are ready for ascension, they will be filtered out of the simulation. And the people who've stayed in their low vibrational ways are going to be left to be destroyed on Earth and then pretty much reincarnated into the new simulation to continue this hell realm, okay? So it has nothing to do about worshiping some guy named Jesus. It has nothing to do with any of that. They want you to think all you got to do is believe in Jesus and you're going to make it. No. It's all symbolic. It's all parables. That's not how it works. If you want to ascend, you got to do the inner work, okay? You need to raise the frequency. You got to overcome the ego-mind virus, okay? Once you do that and you get to a certain frequency, and you reach Christ consciousness, not a guy named Jesus, but a consciousness, Christ consciousness, right? Then you will match that frequency and be able to be filtered out of the simulation. Okay, so the Super Bowl starts off and they're picking the wheat in the field, right? The wheat from the tares. All right, so that's what they're showing. And then they show Bad Bunny up, and there's the 3 crosses, right? He's doing the song Blackout. And it's interesting because the cross is another symbol for Saturn. Okay, the cross is an ancient sun symbol, okay, which is the ancient sun, which is Saturn. That's why the cross is a cube unfolded. Okay, of course, the black cube of Saturn. And you got 3 crosses, just like when Jesus was dying on the cross, right? But there's 3. Why? Because of the Saturn polar configuration. You got Saturn, Venus, and Mars. All right? So it's very symbolic. The story of Jesus when he was up on the cross, it talks about the sun darkening and all these things happening. That's because after Jesus died in the mythological story, the reset pretty much happened shortly after that, which is why the sun darkened and all these things happened, right? So it's showing that we're coming towards this apocalyptic event of the Saturn polar configuration, complete with what I like to call the reptilian harvest. Okay, there's going to be negative entities that are going to come down. My video that I talked about explains it all in deep detail. I highly recommend you guys watch that. And those who have done the work will be spared. The 144,000, that's people who have activated their Kundalini life force energy. And the people who have been sealed in the forehead, opened up their third eye, and who have raised their frequency, they're going to be divinely protected through all this because they've raised their frequency. And when you're at that frequency, the matrix can't touch you. And then they will ultimately ascend. Those who have not done that and who have stayed in their low vibrational lifestyles and committed evil and whatnot, they will get devoured during the reptilian harvest of humanity. And when this cataclysmic situation happens, they will ultimately perish and then, of course, be reborn into the newer simulation that starts. Okay? So that's what this was showing. It was all symbolic of the harvest event, the Saturn polar configuration. All right? And the interesting thing is even within that halftime show, they even showed you some of the things you got to do to ascend and make it through this event. Not because they love you and they care about you, but because they follow, the elites follow certain karmic laws, and they feel that they have to tell you the way out of the matrix. And if they tell you and you don't listen, then you deserve what's coming for you, and you'll be recycled. Okay, so they do it in a way where it's like, yeah, they're telling you, but most people don't understand, if that makes sense. All right, so what did they tell us? Well, look at the marriage. There was an actual real marriage that happened when Lady Gaga was singing and all that. And isn't that interesting that they're both dressed in white, the man and the woman dressed in white for their marriage, and the guy in the middle who's marrying them is dressed in black. And of course, black is associated with Saturn. That's right, the color black has always been associated with Saturn. So you got the 2 pillars with Saturn in the middle. And then, what did this marriage represent between this man and the woman? Well, my friends, remember the whole pillars? Well, the pillar, each side represents the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Okay, that's what the deeper esoteric meaning is. And when they come together as one and get married, that means being in union, okay? That is huge when it comes to your personal ascension, because we need to be balanced within, with our divine feminine and the divine masculine. It's called doing the great work, is balancing the 2 things that we all have within us. All of us, doesn't matter if you're male, female, we both have divine feminine and divine masculine traits that are within us. And when you're too much divine feminine or too much divine masculine, then you're not balanced and you got problems. But when you could merge the two together and be at complete balance, this helps with your ascension. So I believe that this is what they were showing when the two people were getting married, is that if you want to make it out and ascend, you got to put in the great work of bringing the two together. Okay? So that's what I took away from that. And then at the end, they were all celebrating and dancing, of course, during the wedding, showing everything's good. And then at the end, everybody goes marching off, and on the stadium it says, love is the only thing powerful enough to conquer the hate, or love over hate, right? And it's true. You want to make it out, you got to be in the frequency of unconditional love. Okay? You can't be down at the lower dense levels in hatred and division. No, you got to be married, right? Married in spirit and in state of love, not in separation, not in division, but you need it all to come together, and you got to overcome all that. Because if you're still in the division, if you're still hating your brothers and sisters and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be tied to this realm. You're at a low frequency. So love over hate. High frequency over the lower frequencies. And that's what the message was. That is the solution to get out of the matrix. And what do you see that what they're pushing? So much division in the world scene right now. Everybody's mad. They even had two different Super Bowl shows. They had the Kid Rock Super Bowl show and this Super Bowl show. And of course, the people of the right hate the people of the left, and the people of the left hate the people of the right. How ironic, right? That they push that so much. As soon as this event is over, everybody's arguing, fighting. Trump is putting out saying that was the worst Super Bowl time half show ever. You know, the whole country is divided in a state of hatred, and this is the low frequencies that if you fall down into this, you're going to be a victim of the Saturn polar configuration. You're not going to ascend. Let's just put it that way. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian and you love God and you read the Bible and you believe Jesus and all this stuff, ain't going to do shit for you. Because if you're in a low vibrational state and you hate those damn libtards and blah, 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 sorry, it's all about your frequency. It's not about what you believe. It's about the state of your being, okay? So, very interesting. They're telling you the truth, but they're pushing division at the same time. But that's just how they do it. But for those who have eyes to see and can understand what it's really trying to portray, we know what the solution is. Right, my friends? Now, I'd actually like to speak about another possible predictive programming that this halftime ritual was showing. Obviously, there was symbolism of a blackout as well. Power lines, the power going off. All right. So you may be wondering and asking yourself, well, does that mean a blackout's coming? I just wanted to point out, my friends, the movie. What's it called? Leave This World Behind. I'm sure many of you guys have seen that. And it's crazy because it shows in that movie, it's about a cyber attack or something like that, right? Everything goes down and a blackout happens, and it shows an eclipse happening. And then that's when all the chaos goes off, right? And then they end up finding out it was an attack from Iran in the movie. Well, I'm just putting this out there that right now, we're literally about to go to war with Iran. They've been telling everybody to get out. All the Americans should leave Iran right now, and shit's about to go down. Let's just put it that way. And what do we got coming up? An eclipse, February 17th, and then a lunar eclipse, March 3rd. Okay, so could it be war is about to pop off, and maybe Iran will do a cyber attack in response, and we'll have a grid down scenario in the United States of America? That could be predictive programming of that as well. All right, my friends? I just wanted to throw that out there. Make sure you're prepared. Food, water, cash on hand, because the banking system's going to go down, okay? Be prepared, my friends, because we're living in crazy times. As we get closer to this pole shift Saturn polar configuration event, we're going to see more and more chaos. All right? So yeah, just get prepared, get stocked up, and that's all you could do. Raise the frequency, do the inner work, okay? So what is this inner work that needs to be done? As I said, we're going to decode from the beginning of the video the Masonic symbol, okay? The Masonic symbol with the stairway to heaven and all that. Because yes, there's the exoteric meaning where the Saturn is literally returning in the portal, but there's also an esoteric meaning for what one has to do within them. So we're going to end today's video with a couple of videos actually showing you what this inner work is, and it decodes all the symbols that you saw there. Okay, so I'm going to end today's video with that, but at first I just wanted to say, if you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button. As I say, subscribe to survive. And also feel free to join me on Patreon if you enjoy my content. That's right, I'm on Patreon with exclusive content you don't get anywhere else. We got the Cent 5D class, the occult class, where we really break down all this stuff. So the link is down below in the description, or you could just buy old Lionel a coffee if you wish. And as a thank you, I will send you guys some free Patreon videos to your email, because I always like to give back. Or you could become a member of this YouTube channel. All ways to help support me. Link is down below. Leave a comment. And now we will leave you with what this symbolism all means, and pretty much what it means for you, the work that you have to put in if you wish to ascend when these events happen. All right, my friends, through the Saturn gateway. Till next time, Lionel signing off.
Why is it Freemasons use this symbol? See this on Drake's album cover. They represent division. Consciousness expresses itself in two ways. Masculine energy of consciousness, symbolized as the sun, and feminine forces of consciousness, with the moon. They represent the two polar extremes of consciousness. The masculine side of consciousness is willpower, actions, and thinking. The feminine side of consciousness is emotion, imagination, and intuition. These two pillars are seen at the entrance of the Temple of Solomon. The Temple of Solomon is you, Sol meaning the sun, masculine, and Mon meaning the moon, feminine. These two pillars represent the doorway into the self, so that we can reach a higher consciousness by understanding our internal world. Represent extreme division, and the Mason's job is to unify these two extremes of consciousness and meet in the middle. This is why you always see people standing in the middle of the two pillars. The person in the middle is the initiate who is entered into the mystery school. They are the person who are balancing the forces of consciousness in order to reach a higher understanding. In a negative context, this symbol represents extreme division. It also represents the number 11.
They stand silent in stone. Two ancient sentinels guarding ancient secrets older than the Empire. Jachin and Boaz. That's probably how you not say their names, but it doesn't matter. The pillars of Solomon's temple. But these weren't just architectural flourishes, they were symbols, esoteric codes for the initiate. King Solomon, the wise, the mystic, the magus, he didn't just build a temple of stone, he built a temple that represented the map of the soul, a temple that represents us. And the two pillars, they represent duality, masculine, feminine, order, chaos, life, death, the heart, the mind, the sun, the moon, solar, lunar, subconscious, conscious. Every initiate of the mystery schools had to pass between them, not just physically, but spiritually. To walk between the pillars was to enter the inner sanctum, to leave behind ignorance and step into gnosis, to die in the world and be reborn into truth. But the hidden truth is, these pillars guard secret knowledge, the kind of knowledge that makes empires nervous, and the kind of knowledge that frees the mind from control. That's why the mystics were called heretics, and that's why the temple was torn down. Solomon's temple may be gone, but the pillars remain. Not in stone, but within you. You are the temple that God dwells in. Remember, God does not dwell in temples made by hand. God dwells within you, and you must recognize your opposites. Recognize your shadow. And until you reconcile your opposites, until you step between the light and the dark, the doors will not open. Walk between them with eyes wide, and you'll never see the world the same way again.